kind of funny, honestly, because it's like you see these grown people running around making these stupid little noises to try to remember in their head, and then like or something like whatever. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. This is Classically Christian, and we are back. We are here. We are recapping Traitors US Season 2, Episode 5. Things are starting to heat up. Let's just jump right into things. Where we started this episode is where the last one left off. Could you imagine that? Yeah, anyway, we get into the little Traitors den. I don't know what you would call it. And it's just picking up, where Phaedra was kind of like taken aback at the fact that Parvati alluded to there being some sort of like alliance or conspiring going on by the housewives, and in turn that would make you think that they indeed are the traitors. So yeah, Phaedra took issue with that, and so called Parvati on it. She's like, what do you mean, like why'd you say that? And then Parvati's response is like, no, that's not what I was trying to do at all, and blah 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 blah. And she's like, Phaedra's she's not okay with it, but they seem like they're willing to bury it for the time being. But it was kind of like don't let that happen again, and now that you did that, I'm watching your every move type of thing. So yeah, she definitely better be on her toes. One thing I just want to mention real quick before we even get into the rest of the episode is just, I think that Phaedra's honestly been playing a pretty good game. I don't watch Housewives like that, but for somebody who's not a one of these game show cast members on the show, Phaedra's done a good job of not really having anyone suspect her, but always watching everyone else. And I gotta say, she's been doing pretty well so far. Anyway, after they have their little temporary resolution, I guess, truce of their disgruntlement with one another, they just have to decide who are they gonna murder tonight. And so ultimately it comes down to, should they take out Sandra or Tamara? Those are like the names that they come down to. So obviously fast forward just a little bit into the breakfast scene where everybody's seated around the table and there's speculation. And when they're sitting at the table, actually, we get to hear from some of the other people, like Peter and I know Peter for sure. I can't remember who else it was, but people are saying, Dan, I think maybe Janelle might have mentioned it at that point too, that Dan, is starting to become a fishy figure in the household, because while he has not blatantly done anything to say that he is a traitor, the fact that he won't make any accusations or even put together a list of possibilities has led them to believe that he is indeed the traitor. Because why can you not help the faithfuls at all? Especially knowing who Dan is, that's the main reason that they are like hung up on this. Because Dan, obviously, we've seen him in Big Brother before, played a winning game one time, played a runner-up game the second time. This guy knows how to work his way out of tough situations, and he's a master at reading the room and knowing what's going on. And so it's like, the fact you haven't said anything leading us to believe you're a traitor. Whatever. We get down to the last few people coming in, and Sandra does ultimately come in, letting us know that the traitors decided to take out Tamara. This is a big deal because that means that with Larsa being the last person voted out and Tamara just getting killed, that's two of the housewives gone. So now even if Parvati had put any speculation out there about the housewives working together, well, there goes 2 out of the 4 of them. So if Phaedra was the one who ended up swinging over and saying Tamara, hey, that's a good move for her, completely, takes her out of the fray. And honestly, out of the 3 traitors, Parvati, Dan, and Phaedra, nobody said anything about Phaedra so far being a traitor. They've mentioned Dan the most, and then some people have said it could be Parvati as well. But yeah, Phaedra hasn't really gotten any mention whatsoever. Yeah, so there's that. Get to breakfast. Tamara's dead, and now it's time for a new challenge. We are having a bird call challenge where 6 of the people stay inside, and they okay, let me actually split it up a different way. So 6 people are inside, 6 people are outside. The people outside are paired up into 2s. While they're outside, if you're outside, you also have a chance to get one of those shields, which protects you from being killed by the traitors come nighttime. But while you're outside, you also, what you have to do to add money to the pot for the ultimate winnings is you have to go and use a map to find the location of a bird. Sorry, not a bird, but a location. You use the little bird caller thing, and then you have to replicate the sound of it over a walkie-talkie. So they go over the walkie-talkie, and then the 6 people that are inside hear the sound that they make, and they have to run around the house. The house is filled with some different birds, and they have to press the button of the bird to match the sound that the bird makes with the sound that they heard over the walkie-talkie. It's kind of funny, honestly, because it's like you see these grown people running around making these stupid little noises to try to remember in their head, and then like or something like whatever. And it's them trying to keep this fresh in their mind so that they're able to match it properly. They end up racking up $10,000 in the process. Bergie and Trishelle, is that who it is? I think so, yeah. Bergie and Trishelle are the ones who end up getting the shield, but is it one of the other pairs? But another pair that was outside of Peter and Janelle. Peter actually comes up with a plan that he tells Janelle. He's like, hey, I know we didn't get the shields, but I'm gonna tell certain people that I feel like might be traitors that we got the shield, and see how that plays out, to see if they take the risk and try to kill us, or if they go after people that they think that they think are vulnerable. And so he tells Peter tells this to Dan, he tells it to Parvati, and he tells it to CT, at least from what we see. He's like, I'm telling you this in confidence. I found the shield. Me and Janelle found the shield. So, we're good tonight. And so he's saying it to them. He's saying, I'm saying it in confidence to build trust with the people that he's having these conversations with CT, with Dan, with Parvati, to make them believe, hey, I'm on your side. It's actually like a 4D chess, 200 IQ move by Peter. I was quite impressed by him, honestly. Janelle was too. She's like, hey, this guy he's kind of savvy a little bit. And that was cool to see. We got some players. You got people that are actually trying to compete, and that's fun. That's always fun. Anyway, we get to after that game's been playing, after the little bird calling challenge, call a response, running around the house looking like fools. We once again get to the discussion around the house, like, hey, who do you think it is? Blah blah blah. Same thing that we always do, right? And in that time, it once again gets to Dan, like, you know, we haven't heard anything from you. Like, I need you to tell me right now, who do you think it is? And he kind of finagles his way out of the conversation once again. I don't know, he's getting away with this, but once again he finagles his way out of the conversation. He's like, hey, I'll tell you what, I'm still looking at how things are playing out. I'll let you know as soon as I see something for sure. At this point, Janelle has had enough of Dan and his lack of giving her information, and she's like, I played with this guy before, he's not telling me anything, he's the traitor. And so Janelle's going around making sure that everybody says, you know, Dan looks like the traitor here. I think it's Dan. I really think it's Dan. And so and yeah, Dan is the person that she thinks. And then so we get to the round table. It's time to vote somebody out. Who do you think is the traitor? Write their name down. One thing I wanted to mention too is, like, you know how in the last video that I did, if you watched it, I talked about how in the first 3 episodes I didn't hear anything from Kevin really, and then the 4th episode, all I kept hearing about all episode long is how annoying Kevin is, and I didn't really get it, like, wow, where did this come from, until this episode. Like, Kevin, dude, sometimes you just need to be quiet. You don't have to say anything every single time. And he thinks he's really up on things, and it's just funny watching from the audience because you see that he's completely off base. His new target that he has in mind right now is Janelle. He thinks it's Janelle. He's like, you know, she's always on the other side of things, and she's like always trying to lead the conversation one way. I don't trust Janelle. We get to the round table, and it's time to vote out. And before we start voting, we get a mystery person coming in. And the person that ends up coming out is Kate. She's returning, and honestly, like I said, I never watched season 1, so if she was on season 1, I didn't see it, so I don't know who she is. To me, she's just a random lady coming into the show, you know, about a third of the way into it, and it's just like, okay, all right, what is she, you know, she votes tonight, so she's part of the thing, so yeah, it's a big deal. We get to a roundtable discussion. Janelle calls out Dan in front of everybody. She's like, dude, you haven't said anything. It's you. It's 100% you. And Kevin makes his case where he thinks it's Janelle strongly. And then we get around to Dan. Dan's like, yeah, I still don't know. I can't tell you something if I don't know it. I'm not just gonna you know, lead us down a bad road. And so they kind of inform him. They're like, dude, give us one name, any name right now that you think it is. And he, at that point, he says, well, if I have to choose one name at this point, since I know that I'm, you know, a faithful, I would have to say Janelle, because Janelle's coming at me right now, and, you know, this is crazy. And oh, another thing I wanted to highlight about Kevin is that while Kevin was speaking, Kate was not liking the way that he was kind of, you know, talking, and so she was discussing it with somebody that was right next to her, and Kevin heard that. He's like, did you hear what I said? Did you hear what I said? And she's like, yeah, I was listening to you. He's like, no, you didn't hear what I said though. Blah 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 blah. It's like, dude, you gotta read the room. Like, this type of stuff is gonna get you kicked out. Yeah. We get to the vote. It's a split vote. Dan and Janelle are leading the way, but eventually Janelle takes the lead, and taking the lead, she's voted out. She leaves, she walks out, she says, you know, I was the faithful, you guys were wrong. And so faithfuls are down again. Faithful's not doing too well in this show, but hey, so it is what it is. So of course, after a round table, we get another Traitors walk into the den, and this time when we get into the little deliberation area for them, Phaedra doesn't call out Parvati. She's kind of like to Dan, like, dude, you got to do better. Nobody trusts you right now. You got to say a name, man. Like, I can't tell you how to play your game, but I'm telling you how to play your game, that type of deal. And Phaedra's right, man. Dan, you got to say something. Now, they talk about this information that they got from Peter earlier on, where Peter obviously said, you know, me and Janelle got the shields, so we're safe if they try to murder us. Dan mentions that, and Parvati is like, he said the same thing to me. And Parvati puts it together. He's like, so he's obviously lying if he said the same thing to both of us. And she's like, so we gotta kill him. Like, yes, Parvati, yes, you exactly read through his plan. And Dan's like, no, I don't think he's that savvy. Let's just take out Bergie. And if they try to take out Bergie, and you know, he's actually the one with the shield, him and Trishelle, bad move, Dan. But at this point, Dan, as accomplished of a reality competitor as he is, he's looking a little bit too cocky for his own good. He's overlooking the competition. Okay, like, yes, you're smart. You are arguably the best reality show person there. I don't know. I might lean towards Parvati, honestly, personally. As far as a strategist in these social games, but yeah, like, Dan, you are, if you choose to take out Bergie or Trishelle, you're showing all your cards. Listen to Parvati, listen to the women. They know what they're talking about. At this point in time, Dan, this would be a very, very bad move for you. They do show Bergie in the next coming attraction for the episode coming up, but obviously that doesn't mean anything, because he could either be safe because they didn't choose to kill him, or he would be safe anyway since he has the shield. But yeah, we'll have to see what happens next. Dan needs a reality check. He needs to start respecting his opponent's game a little bit more. Otherwise, what's going to end up happening is he's going to end up in another situation like Big Brother 14, where he sits next to Ian thinking that he's got this thing locked up, and he gets, you know, he gets a little bit of a blind side. So Dan, pick it up. Parvati and Phaedra are cooking. Phaedra's really surprised me. Yeah, and I'm excited to see how the episode 6 turns out. If you guys enjoyed this video, of course, leave a like on it. Go ahead and click that subscribe button with the bell next to it so you get updated every single time that I upload. And of course, I will see you guys in the next video. Have a great day.